Good evening, I'm Ces Orenia Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Sean Yao.
The big stories tonight. It's the most radical move yet from President Marcos, 3 years into his term, asking his top officials to resign so he can have a free hand in reshaping his cabinet. But what triggered this reboot, and can it be a turning point for this government?
And former cabinet member Vice President Sara Duterte gets closer to her historic ouster trial. The Senate is convening as an impeachment court in less than 2 weeks, a day after prosecutors read the charges against the vice president in the upper chamber's open session.
And yet another attack at sea. A Chinese Coast Guard ship reportedly sideswiped a BFAR vessel in Sandy Cay and even fired a water cannon at it during a routine research mission.
The honorable members of the cabinet. Teka, may laman pa ba yung kabinete ko? Who am I addressing now?
It's a reboot that had been suggested but still took many by surprise. Around 30 of the Marcos administration's top officials submitted their courtesy resignations today upon the orders of the president himself. The outcome of the recent elections and criticism on government's performance are just a few of the factors at play in what's now being called the Great Cabinet Revamp. Maricel Halili has tonight's big story.
A cabinet wipe out? Anything could happen now after President Bongbong Marcos ordered the courtesy resignation of every cabinet secretary, head of agency with cabinet rank, and presidential advisor and assistant. The chief executive even joked about it during the presentation of new laws in Malacanang on Thursday.
The honorable members of the cabinet. Teka, may laman pa ba yung kabinete ko? Who am I addressing now? we are in flux.
The palace admits the result of the recent midterm election was a factor in the decision.
Sa kanyang paningin, nakulangan siguro ang taong bayan sa naging performance ng gobyerno, kaya hindi nila nakuha yung pinaka-target na numero, especially sa Senado.
And then there's the persistent concern of non-performing officials in the administration. Something just had to be done.
This is not about personalities. It's about performance, alignment, and urgency. Those who have delivered and continue to deliver will be recognized. But we cannot afford to be complacent. The time for comfort zones is over.
Response was swift among government executives. They immediately submitted courtesy resignations, including Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin. For Transportation Secretary Vince Tizon, what President Marcos did sends a strong message to his constituents.
Ang laging sinasabi ng kabinete is, we serve at the pleasure of the President. Totoo naman yun. Pero itong ginawa ng Presidente ito, itong mensahe niya, hindi lang serving at the pleasure of the President. We serve at the pleasure of the people.
For her part, Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco believes she has done her part as a cabsec and does not mind a voluntary bow out.
I myself am ready to present the courtesy resignation, knowing that the transformation we have given to the tourism industry is one that has employed millions of Filipinos, contributed a lot to our nation, and has led to the transformation of the Philippines into a destination to love.
If administration officials feel this virtual revamp is a common occurrence, political analyst Ed Montayo sees a deeper motive behind PBBM's move.
Alam mo, medyo matalinhaga yung move na yan. Ano? I mean, whether it's knee-jerk or what have you, being a president and you're talking of the whole government for that matter.
So, will the great cabinet revamp come to pass? Whoever gets permanently removed from the Marcos team, Malacanang assures government operations won't be affected. All secretaries and other officials are expected to go on with their tasks for now until the president decides to appoint new people, if and when it ever comes down to that. For News 5, Maricel Halili, We Are One News.
As expected, we are getting mixed reactions on President Marcos's recent move, with a few senators supportive of the cabinet revamp. Senate President Cheese Escudero views it as a, quote, a mid-game substitution, reshuffling of key players based on their performance. He also thanked the president for acknowledging that there is a problem, for displaying sensitivity to the sentiments of Filipinos, and for humbly taking responsibility by addressing it. Escudero also advised the president to, quote, distance himself from reckless allies who squandered his goodwill and burned through his political capital for selfish ends. Meanwhile, outgoing Senator Nancy Binay also lauded the president's decision. The new Makati City Mayor is worried, though, of what the courtesy resignations could do to current government projects.
Concern ko is baka wag sanang maantala yung mga programa. Sana kung may tatanggapin siyang courtesy resignations, yung kapalit nandiyan na kaagad.
On the other hand, the business community was surprised by the president's decision to have all his top officials resign. The Makati Business Club says it is content with the performance of Marcos's current cabinet, particularly his economic team, TESDA, and the education department. And should leadership changes become really necessary, the MBC hopes that the administration will also take note of pork barrel disguised as ayuda or aid, and give closer focus on agriculture and the national budget.
We like these guys. We think they're the best people for the job. And then there are other, cabinet positions outside the economic cluster that we feel are also, have the best people for the job. These guys are well qualified for the position, so we would be very surprised if Marcos accepted their resignations and let them go.
For his part, former presidential spokesperson Edwin Lasierda has been expecting this cabinet purge, saying it is a good move on the part of Marcos. He expects a changing of the guards in agencies that deal with gut issues.
A number of factors, no? The Iglesia vote, the Duterte votes, and also the disenchantment with the president himself, because it seems to be nothing's happening. So this is a refresh, no? You refresh everything. You're not going to remove everyone there. If you are going to look into the departments or agencies that need to be revamped, it should be the frontliners, the frontline department agencies, yung mga agencies na talagang that deal directly with the people.
Now let's get another political expert to weigh in on this. And joining us live from Italy is One News resident political pundit Ronald Llamas. Ronald, good evening and welcome to the Big Story. This BBM Cabinet 2.0 refresh is an opportunity but also quite a risk. What do you make of this move?
Well, Cess, first of all, good evening kay Pauline at saka kay Sean. This is long overdue. Dapat even more than a year ago, nung hindi na di-deliver yung kanyang mga promise sa State of the Nation, dapat meron ng mga cabinet na natanggal. Immediately before the elections, nung nagkaroon ng disaster dun sa budget, dapat din may mga natanggal na eh. Dapat nagkaroon na ng overhaul. Dapat hindi na hinintay yung disaster sa midterm election, which is a plebiscite, a referendum on the president and his government. Kaya long overdue, sana hindi pa too late, ay kailangan talaga niyang baguhin na yung kanyang cabinet. Marami na kasi yung mga pagkukulang ng kanyang cabinet secretary. Meron siyang Secretary of Labor, na galit yung mga labor groups dahil wala naman na-deliver for them. Merong pang Secretary of Tourism na sabi ay pupunta tayo doon sa pre-pandemic level na 8 million tourists, ngayon 5 million lang. No?
Sino pa? Pangalanan mo
meron
na.
pa Secretary of Health na medyo ang laki ng utang ng Department of Health sa mga private hospitals in their billions. No? At ngayon na may parating na bagong surge sa COVID, ay parang wala siyang leadership na ginagawa. Diba?
So,
Tapos
tatlo na
meron
yan.
kang Secretary of Agriculture na binabatak pababa ang ating economic growth dahil negative yung ating agriculture at wala pa rin yung promisa na pagbaba ng food inflation, di ba? So meron kang economic team na hindi naabot yung growth targets natin. Patuloy na bumababa, tapos napakataas ng self-rated poverty, record high. 63%. Tapos involuntary hunger is 28%. So ang daming problema ng bansa na dapat bago siya nag-accumulate ay napalitan na itong mga natutulog sa kangkungan, natutulog sa pansitan ng mga cabinet secretary. Dapat hindi na nangyari itong midterm disaster na plebiscite sa gobyerno at saka sa presidente. Kaya inuulit ko, this is long overdue. Dapat ina-assess bawat cabinet secretary regularly. Ano ba yung kanilang pagkukulang? Ano ba yung kanilang dapat ginawa? At with 115 million population, I'm sure marami tayong makahanap na mas magagaling. Kung hindi, sasabog ito sa mukha ng presidente at patuloy na bababa ang kanyang approval rating at magiging early lame duck siya. Imbis na lame duck siya during the last year of his term, sa middle of his term, baka maging lame duck siya. Kaya sana mas magagaling yung mga ipapalit niya. Nakakatawa lang na yung pinakabago pa sa kabinete, si Secretary Vince Dizon, siya pa yung pinakaunang nag-resign. Dapat kasi courtesy resignation na yan nang mas maaga pa, even before the midterms.
Pero Ronald, yun na ba yung fearless forecast mo? You've specifically mentioned a few departments, of course, headed by their specific secretaries. Nabanggit mo, DOT, DOH, may isa pa, hindi ko na-note down.
DOT?
Tingin ko mas marami pa no? Baka kulangin yung oras sa show nyo para isa-isahin ko yung kanilang pagkukulang. So, unless meron kayo hanggang alas 10 ng gabi.
So ibig sabihin, walang ititira?
Pwede namang may mga matira naman. No? Halimbawa, yung sa Secretary of Education kasi simula pa lang Muebuelo pa lang. Bakit mo naman siya tatanggalin? Sisimula pa lang siya. At ang laki ng problema na iniwan ng previous Secretary of Education na impeach ngayon. Halimbawa, nung umalis si Vice President Sara Duterte, ang deficit natin sa schools ay 160,000. Ang laki nun. Hindi kayang solusyonan yun overnight. Pero dapat maipakita na meron ng trend na aayusin yan. Lalo na ngayon, nabagsak yung ating educational system, 91% learning poverty according sa World Bank, etc. etc. So, kailangan dramatic. Hindi siya makakapaghintay ng 10 taon Dapat in the next few months, meron siyang dramatic na gawin. So, hindi lang ito pagtanggal ng mga underperforming cabinet secretaries, kundi pagtulak ito dun sa mga medyo mababagal na cabinet secretary. Dahil hindi pwede rito ang long burn. Dapat dito quick burn. Dahil mabilis na nag-unravel yung approval rating ng presidente. Hindi lang ito usapin ng narrative. No? Mahalaga rito yung messaging. Kalahati ng problema is messaging, narrative. Pero kalahati is substance. Yung kanyang reform agenda, nasaan? Yung mga sinasabi niya sa SONA, nasaan? Yung kanyang ideology na pinagmamalaki at ng bagong unity, nasaan yon? Kung hindi ito madideliver kahapon, no? Talagang susukatin siya ng mamamayan. At again, magiging early lame duck siya. Yung mga, halimbawa, umalis sa PDP laban sa mga Duterte, baka magsimulang bumalik sa kanya.
Ronald, go ahead, Ses.
I was just about to say, kasi sa StoryCon kanina, sinabi ni dating Secretary Edwin Lasherda na messaging yung isa sa pinakamalaking problema, communication. Pero tama kayong sinabi mo substance din Ano naman ang i-communicate mo kung wala?
Yes. Katulad nga ng sinabi ko, naglagay ka ng Secretary of Agriculture na taipan sa dagat, baka kulang siya sa wherewithal paano ayusin yung ating mga lupa, yung ating mga productivity. Dahil baka iba yung kanyang skill set. dahil patuloy na binabatak pababa ng ating agriculture, yung ating economy. No? Pero ang pinakamalaki dyan ay yung economic team. No? Biro mo, ang dami nilang promisa, 6%, 7% growth rate. Nasaan tayo ngayon? Less than 5%. So, hindi lang mamamayan ang tatamaan dyan. Tatamaan dyan yung liderato. Kaya tama yung interview niya kay Tonyin na sinusubukan niya magkaroon ng empathy na sinasabi niya, tinatanggap niya na may pagkukulang, pero sinabi rin niya na gagawin niya maging strong leader, even feared. No? Dahil hindi siya kinakatakutan eh. Hindi siya kinakatakutan. Kahit paano, dapat may respeto at saka takot yung mga masasamang tao doon sa leader ng bansa. Dapat meron silang takot na kung hindi nila ginawa ito, ay tatamaan sila. Katulad ng kanyang dalawang SONA, dudurugin niya ang mga kartel, papahuli niya ang mga hoarders at saka mga smugglers. Ni isa, wala akong nakitang hinuli. So, kailangan niyang mabilisin yan. Halimbawa, sa crime, ginagamit itong mga high-profile kidnapping laban sa kanya. No? So, dapat yan, masolusyonan niya immediately. Hindi bukas. No? Immediately today. No? Kung hindi, ay patuloy na magde-deteriorate yung kanyang approval rating.
Ronald, actually, yun nga yung gusto ko itanong, no? Kanino po binabanggit, dapat dramatic. Pero sa palagay ko, yung dating sa akin, nung late night announcement ng PCO na kailangan nga mag-turn in ng courtesy resignation, lahat ng cabinet members, medyo dramatic naman yun. So what do you make of the drama? Also, maybe tie it in with the timing. Kasi minsan, di ba, sabi mo kasi sana hindi too late, pero maybe he thinks if I do it this grand way, in a big way, does it, for you, show teeth? Does it show weakness?
Well, sabi nga dun sa interview niya, nag-empathize siya sa problema ng bansa at medyo self-critical siya. Pero hindi sapat yun eh. No? Kailangan, where is the beef? Ano yung kanyang i-deliver? At ano yung kanyang ilalagay sa messaging? No? Siyempre, inuulit ko, plebiscite yung midterm on the president, on his governance, kaya kailangan niyang gawin ito dramatically. Kung maalala mo, Sean, more than a year ago, pinag-uusapan na natin ito eh. Itong cabinet revamp. No? Pero hindi niya ginagawa eh. Siguro dahil passive-aggressive siya, siguro dahil conflict-averse siya, siguro mabait lang siya, na inamin naman niya sa interview niya kay Tonyin. Pero kung ikaw ay presidente, hindi sapat yun eh. Kailangan magpakita ka ng leadership, ng strength, at to some extent, kinakatakutan. Dahil ang daming problema ng bansa. Kung hindi takot sa'yo, yung gumagawa ng mga problema, lalo mag-deteriorate yung mga problema na yan. Kaya,
but I'd like to follow that up with yung extending a hand of reconciliation. What was that about? It, of course,
tingin ko tactical lang yon para ipakita niya na yung exasperation ng mga tao tungkol sa mga away ay minimitigate niya. Pero inamin din niya the day after nung sinabi ng mga Duterte na pabalikin si Digong sa Pilipinas, ang sabi rin niya, hindi pwedeng gawin yan dahil ang mahalaga kasi ay rule of law. So immediately, pagkasabi niya na nag-extend siya ng hand of friendship, sinabi rin niya na hindi pwede yung hinihingi nila dahil usapin ito ng rule of law. So nakikita mo yung kanyang balancing act sa messaging. Sinusubukan niya mag-empathize, ipakita sa tao na ayaw na niya ng masyado maraming politika, pero at the same time, meron siyang bottom lines. Halimbawa, itong usapin ng ICC, bottom line ito. No? At sabi ko nga nung isang araw, too much water under the bridge. Hindi nakakayanin yung mga peace feelers sa mga Duterte dahil nasa ICC na si Digong, na-impeach na si Sara at ita-trial na siya. May mga criminal cases na nakasampa hindi lamang sa mga Duterte, mismo sa kanilang mga alipores katulad ni Harry Roque. Hindi mo na yung mababawi. Kaya more yung kanyang peace feelers ay tingin ko more tactical para ipakita na willing nang isacrifice yung kanyang sariling interest para lamang maging matahimik ang bansa. Pero alam niya, deep within, hindi na mangyayari yun. Ang mahalaga talaga ay magpakita siya ng strength, ng leadership, ng respect, pero at the same time, isang reform package na he means well, na meron siyang gagawin para sa gutom, para sa inflation, para sa trabaho, para sa sahod. No? Malakas na siya sa West Philippine Sea, pero hindi nila na-weaponize ng kanyang mga tao. Ang nanalo sa Senate ay pro-China. Diba? Yun yung nangyari. Hindi nila na-weaponize yung ICC case. Ang nagmukhang biktima pa ng human rights, si Digong. Pagkatapos siyang ipapatay, yung 35,000, siya pa ngayon ang biktima ng human rights. Ibig sabihin, tama si Edwin na may problema sa messaging yung gobyerno. Hindi nila na-weaponize yung mga issues na napaka-fundamental against the Duterte. Crimes against humanity, betrayal of national sovereignty, massive corruption, mismanagement. Ang nangyari, sila pa yung
Parang
tinamaan ng
nag-boomerang.
weaponization.
Pero with that said, Ronald, what should we be watching out for in the next few weeks to find out whether this realignment is actually genuine o strategic optics lang siya for the president?
Well, una, sino yung kanyang papalitan? Dahil 2 years ago, sinabi na niya magka-cabinet revamp siya. 2 years ago, nung nandun siya sa trip sa Indonesia. Pero wala namang nangyaring cabinet revamp. So ngayon, hinihintay, seryoso ba siya? Sino yung mga papalitan niya? At yung papalitan niya, bakit papalitan? At ano yung ipapalit niya ng mga tao at saka programa? Yun yung hihintayin natin itong next few days. Pero kailangan mabilisin niya. Inuulit ko, kailangan dito quick burn. Hindi pwede dito ang slow burn. Kaya yun yung hihintayin natin in the next 1 to 3 days.
Pero
Sino
Ronald,
tatanggalin at sino ipapalit?
what about the other current government projects? Sinabi na nga ni outgoing Senator Nancy Binay, she's worried that this would affect, kasi nga naman, 3 years pa ang natitira sa administrasyon ni President Marcos. What could that mean for those projects?
Well, kung maayos kasi yung papalit, transition lang naman yan . No? Pabibilisin mo yung mga nabibimbin na proyekto. Halimbawa, sa Department of Transportation, ang ginawa ni Vince Dizon, yung subway project, pinabilis niya dahil alam ko, muntik umalis yung mga Hapon dahil hindi yata sila nababayaran. So, ang pwedeng mangyari pa nga dyan, mapabilis yung mga big ticket projects na yan. Kung magaling ang ipapalit nila. Kung merong capacity para i-scale up yung leadership as well as programs ng gobyerno na sa ngayon mababagal o non-performing. So, kaya yun yung mahalaga . Sinong ipapalit? Paano yung scaling up? No?
Dapat on another matter sa House of Congress, dapat maging active ang Pangulo sa pagpili ng next Speaker of the House. I mean, they always say they don't interfere, but they...
Mahalaga rin yan, no? Mahalaga rin yan. Ang ibabalansin ng presidente ay political baggage at saka at the same time, sino yung may capacity na hawakan yung House. Paano, wag mong kalimutan, a month ago, nagsasalita niya si Vice President Sara ng impeachment ng presidente. Imagine mo, baka mauna pa siya ma-impeach kung hindi niya hawak ang Kongreso. Ibig sabihin, balancing act yan between political baggage at saka at the same time, yung merong strength or wherewithal para kontrolin at hawakan ng Kongreso para hindi lamang ma-implement yung kanyang priority legislation kung hindi mapigilan yung pagtanggal sa kanya. Na nire-raise na ngayon ng mga Duterte. The possibility of impeaching him. So, yung Senate presidency ay yung speakership ay crucial dyan. Dyan mag-emanate hindi lamang legislation, kundi impeachment, any impeachment case. Mahalaga rin yung Senate presidency dahil nga mayroong impeachment na nakasalang. At syempre, ito yung kalahati ng legislative body natin, lalo na sa usapin ng budget. Kaya ang ibabalansin niya sa leadership ng Senate, leadership ng House ay ito bang mga leaders na ito ay sobrang bigat ng dalang baggage, pero at the same time, kaya ba nilang mag-govern? Kaya ba nilang hawakan yung Senate at saka yung Kongreso para sa layunin ng Presidente, para sa mga proyekto ng Presidente, at para protektahan ng Presidente?
Bago ka umalis, si Speaker Romualdez, baggage ba or kailangan niya talaga? Pag sa pagpabalanse,
well, tinamaan siya doon sa usapin ng budget last December, saka last January, di ba? At ginagamit yung impeachment mismo ng campaign manager ng alyansa laban sa kanya na dapat daw hindi na nagkaroon ng impeachment at binili o pinressure mismo yung presidential son. Medyo weird yun, ha? Campaign manager ng alyansa, si Toby Chanco, sinasabi yung mga ganon na nagamit yung anak mismo ng presidente para pumirma at mamuno ng impeachment. So may ganong klaseng atake sa kanya. Pero at the same time, yung gusto bang pumalit sa kanya ay kayang hawakan ng Congress? Kaya ba ni Toby Chanco? Si GMA ba gusto maging speaker uli? No? Nakaalyado ni Sara? Si Albi Benitez ba ay feasible? Lumalabas din yung kanyang pangalan? Sino pa yung mga lumalabas sa mga pangalan? Kaya dapat
Madaming
yung
landmine.
pipiliin.
Bago
Sa
yung
Oo.
GMA.
Congress,
Bago yung GMA.
Exactly. Exactly. Dahil pipiliin mo, dapat hindi masyadong malaki yung political baggage. Pero at the same time, kayang hawakan yung Kongreso. No? Baka mauna ka pang ma-impeach kaysa kay Sara.
Ang sarap ng usapan, baka abutin tayong overtime, kaya magpapaalam na kami. Thank you so much for your insights, political pundit Ronald Llamas.
Salamat. Pabalik.
We're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, the Senate convenes as an impeachment court in 12 days, clearing the way for the ouster trial of Vice President Sara Duterte, officially set for July. We have the details when the big story returns. Stay tuned.
The big story is back with the Senate formally advising the House of Representatives of the impeachment court convening on June 3. Today, House prosecutors have begun discussing preparations for the historic trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. As stipulated in the rules of procedure, the House prosecution panel has to present to the upper chamber the articles of impeachment. The Senate proposed to do this on June 2 at 4 p.m. House Prosecutor Bel Zamora said 5 to 10 law firms are helping them with the trial, and at this point, they are 90% ready.
It's a little exciting for us, I guess, na matutuloy na. We've had a mock trial before. We prepared judicial affidavits for the witnesses. We examined witnesses. We're reviewing all of the documentary evidence that we already have on hand.
The government is bent on bringing Duterte ally Harry Roque back to the Philippines. Speaking to reporters today, Justice Secretary Boying Remulla confirmed that they will be moving for the cancellation of the former presidential spokesperson's passport. Remulla noted that they will also seek a red notice for Roque from Interpol. Roque left the Philippines in September after the House of Representatives cited him in contempt for refusing to attend the hearings on Pogos. He is now the subject of an arrest warrant from a Pampanga court for qualified trafficking charges or human trafficking charges over his alleged connection with scam hub Lucky South 99. Attorney Roque is currently seeking political asylum in the Netherlands.
I'm sure that the asylum application will have to be finished before it's acted upon in the Netherlands. But we know that the Netherlands will not tolerate the commission of crimes. Well, he will be an undocumented alien. Pag wala siyang asylum at nakansel ang passport niya, he will have to be deported.
From possible reconciliation with the administration, the impeachment trial of VP Sara, and PDP Laban's big win, the Dutertes remain a hot topic. Tonight, we have one of PDP Laban's winning senatorial bets, and joining us is Senator Bato de la Rosa. Good evening and welcome to the Big Story, Senator.
Good evening, Sis. Good evening to all our viewers. Good evening po.
Senator, well, the big story tonight is really the cabinet shakeup. What do you make of it?
Well, I hope it's going to work out very well for the good of this country.
Sino bang dapat sa tingin ninyong tanggalin ni Pangulo?
Wala man akong particular na gustong ipatanggal dyan. Bahala na si Pangulo kung sinong gusto niya tanggalin.
Mm-hmm. But you welcome this move?
Yes, I welcome that move.
Mm-hmm. Alright, since you won, Senator Bato, nag-usap-usap na ba kayo ng mga so-called Duterte bloc senators at kung anong mangyayari sa inyo? Magiging part ba kayo ng minority? Magjo-join forces ba kayo? May minority coalition ba? May gano'n na po ba?
Meron kaming pag-uusapan na in the coming days. Hinihintay lang namin kasi yung president namin, si Senator Robinson Padilla, nandoon pa sa dahig. Kaya hinihintay namin makauwi siya para mag-usap-usap kami.
Is he there trying to seek some advice or direction from the former president, Rodrigo Duterte?
I don't know. Baka part of his vacation naman kasi vacation mode ngayon ng mga senators dahil nga nasa break pa kami, di ba?
Okay. Vacation mode po?
Okay, Senator, on a different topic, another big story this week was that podcast of President Bongbong Marcos kung saan in-express nga po niya that he wants reconciliation with the Dutertes, not specifically just Vice President Sara, pero lahat daw ng mga kaaway niya, ayaw na daw niya ng gulo, he wants peace. What's your reaction to that, Senator?
Maganda yan if he's really truly sincere to what he is saying. Sana sincere siya.
Do you feel na sincere po siya, Senator?
I don't know dahil nadala na ako dahil nadala na ako dyan sa kanya dahil I have already experienced na iba yung sinasabi niya, iba yung ginagawa niya.
Senator, actually sinabi nga po ni Attorney Sal Panelo no, na ang for him to prove the sincerity of President Marcos, ipauwi daw po niya si former President Duterte. Ganun din po ba yung inyong sentiment?
Tama yan, tama yan. In order to heal the very deep wounds sa mga nagmamahal kay Pangulong Duterte, ay ipapauwiin niya si Pangulong Duterte dito at the same time, paghuhulihin niya, pag-arestuhin niya yung mga ICC investigators na andito ngayon sa ating bansa, andyan sa Pasay, sa hotel sa Pasay na pilit na nag-imbestiga nitong ating mga kapulisan, no? Mga retired na pulis ay tinatakot pa na magpirma sa mga affidavit na prepared nila. Otherwise, kung yung contents ng affidavit ay pinapadiin si Pangulong Duterte at ako para daw kung hindi sila magpirma ay yung mga pulis na yon ang madidiin. Kaya the first move that the President should do is to arrest these people for interfering into our judicial processes.
Wait, can you
How
confirm?
did you get this information, Senator? Paano po dumating tong impormasyon na ito sa inyo?
Yung mga pulis na pinag-imbestigahan nila, alam nga naman, meron magsusumbong sa atin. Hindi naman tayo pwede lang i-blind dyan dahil mga pulis yan, puso niyan, nasa atin pa rin dahil nabaro natin yan eh.
Can you give us more details, Senator? Senator, ano pa pong details bukod sa may ilan po sila na ICC investigators na nandito, nabanggit nyo nga nasa Pasay sila sa isang hotel. How long have they been here?
Matagal na yan sila dito, pabalik-balik na yan sila. At ngayon, naghahabol sila dahil yung yung date ng last day of submission ng mga evidence doon sa ICC, parang itong katapusan ng buwan ang nila, yung last day of submission of evidence. Kaya nirarally nila, tinatakot nila yung pati yung mga retired na mga pulis na kawawa na nahimik na sa kanilang buhay. Tinatakot nila na kapag hindi magpirma dito sa kanilang prepared na affidavit, ay sila daw ang madidiin kung hindi sila ipirma sa affidavit na containing incriminations laban sa amin ni Pangulong Duterte at ako.
As far as you know,
yun ang ginagawa nito mga investigador na ito. Dapat si Pangulong Marcos, kung sincero siya sa kanyang reconciliation, pag-arestuhin niya itong mga tao na ito for interfering with our judicial processes.
Okay. Senator, as far as you know, is this in cooperation with the DOJ or with the PNP or any government agency?
PNP, particularly sa IDG.
Okay.
At merong mga tao ang Malacanang na nagpapacilitate nito. Hindi ba yung magtapang-tapangan pupunta dito kung hindi pinapacilitate ng mga nasa gobyerno?
Sinong tao sa Malacanang po? Pangalanan nyo na.
Malaman natin yan kapag mag-conduct kami ng hearing at papanagutin natin itong mga tao na involved dito na mga taksil sa ating soberenya.
And base sa intelligence nyo, Senator, is this to do with the case of Tatay Digong or sa kaso nyo po? Kasi yun naman po yung lagi nababanggit rin, no? Na sunod na daw po kayo, etc. etc.
Kaso ni Pangulong Duterte at ako sa akin.
Okay.
At pilit pa lang dinadamay si Senator Bongo at si Vice President Inday Sara. Kasi kung hindi nila makuha si Vice President dito sa impeachment dahil alam nila kulang sila ng numbers, they will resort to ICC. Talaga pipresahin nila na makalabas ng warrant yung ICC laban kay Vice President para ma-erase talaga na si Vice President.
Speaking of impeachment, kasado na, nagsulat na si Senate President Cheese Escudero kay Martin Romualdez, House Speaker. Nakasisi na po si VP Sara Duterte doon. Nakausap niyo na ba ang SP na si Cheese Escudero at may usapan na ba kung ano yung magyayari sa June 2 at 3?
Wala pa. Basta ako, I am prepared. I am prepared to sit as a senator judge once the impeachment trial proceeds.
But as far as you know, have some police officers or police enlisted personnel signed these documents from the ICC?
Yung iba natakot dahil without the presence of their lawyers, wala silang mga lawyer, natakot sila doon, di nagpirma yung iba. Yung iba naman ay yung medyo matigas, ayaw pumirma. At yun nga, nagsumbong sa akin na gano'n daw pinagagawa sa kanila.
Are you doing something about it, Senator? Kung meron ng ganung coercion, no? Coercion ng pagpipirma na nagyayari, meron ba kayong ginagawa or kinakausap para ma-stop ito?
I will file a resolution para magkakaroon ng hearing.
Okay. Sa Senate
kung
po?
hindi talaga sila hinto, I will call on the armed forces of the Philippines to stop this interference into our sovereignty.
All right, with that, we thank you for joining us in the Big Story, Senator Bato de la Rosa.
Right, in other news, another water cannon attack and sideswiping incident involving a Chinese Coast Guard and a Filipino vessel, this time near Pag-asa K2. The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources reported that CCG 21559 fired water cannons and rammed BRP Datu Sanday twice. The impact damaged the BFAR vessel's port bow, smokestack, and endangered civilians on board. According to BFAR, Sanday and BRP Datu Pagbuaya were on a routine mission to collect sand samples in the area. Despite the harassment, the Filipino research team was able to complete its mission. Now, this incident marks the first use of water cannons against BFAR vessels in the case and the first since China waved its flag in the area. Pag-asa K2 is part of the Kalayaan Group located in the West Philippine Sea.
Time to pause for another quick break, but when we return, we will be introducing you to a sustainability advocate making a push for plant-based products. We'll speak to Cecil Chang of Lionheart Farms when the Big Story returns. Keep it here.
Thank you for staying with us here on The Big Story. Do you ever think about how your favorite condiments are made? From sweeteners to sauces, some of these staples often come at a hidden cost of unsustainable farming practices. There's also synthetic additives and even unfair label practices. What if we told you it doesn't have to be that way? Here we highlight companies with sustainability initiatives, one story at a time. Welcome to Sustainability. From coconut sap to clean label condiments, one farm in southern Palawan is proving that ethical sourcing can be sustainable and successful. And leading this effort to produce global quality plant-based products, we have with us tonight Cecile Chang, Chief Operating Officer of Lionheart Farms. Welcome to the Big Story, Cecile.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here.
Yeah, you've achieved so much in such a short time, regenerative agriculture, reducing poverty. But let's talk first about ethical practices in farming because, well, you export all these products that you make.
Yeah.
What exactly is meant by ethical products?
Okay. First, we are
Ethically sourced.
very, very proud to say that we are SMETA certified company. So this SMETA is like an agency from overseas that sees all the companies if they're doing the fair treatment to their employees. And I'm proud to say that we passed with a score.
Flying colors.
With flying colors, yeah.
You work with indigenous peoples in southern Palawan.
Yes. I'm proud to say again that more or less we have like 70% partnership with indigenous people of the southern Palawan.
Shall you show the products that you make?
Okay. This is teriyaki. I'm sure everyone is familiar with teriyaki. I just had my show actually at the IFEX World Trade Center today to show people about our teriyaki, that it's organic, non-GMO. So
That's made from coconut.
No, this is made from coconut flour. It's
Bulaklak
our
ng-
bulaklak
ng
ng
nyog.
nyog.
Oo.
Yes.
Actually, it's an ancient ancient
Tuba.
Filipinos would use tuba.
Yes, exactly.
So
But
that's
of course,
derived from tuba.
this is from tuba, but non-alcoholic. It's not fermented. This is fresh tuba. Yeah.
And then this is, which is the best seller? This one is, no,
I think
it's
all
not.
of it.
She can't decide.
So these are all sold to the export
Export,
market.
and we have also here in the Philippines because we want to keep our pride as Filipino that all these beautiful and excellent products are available here, not only in the foreign land.
But Cecile, what makes the coconut flower sap so powerful? Why did you choose to focus on that particular crop?
When you hear coconut business, people think about VCO immediately, right? And as you mentioned, virgin coconut oil. And as you mentioned earlier, it's like an ancient. Tuba is an ancient. So we thought, why don't we make farming sexy again? Right? And reintroduce tuba, to the world, to the consumers of the world, right?
Yeah. And when I understand when Lionheart began, it was really when the coconut industry was so down.
Yes.
Yeah. Aging coconut trees. What else?
Cocolisa.
Yes.
Yeah. Cocolisa was like around 2017. Yeah.
Just a while back, and we're still recovering. Right?
Yeah.
And then in Palawan, I'm guessing they were kind of safe since nasa isla, medyo malayo sa mainland.
We're fortunate, we're not affected by those. Yeah.
But let's go into the health benefits of this tuba or coconut sap flower, coconut flower sap. I know it's really, really healthy. It has like all the amino acids. Is that really true? And have these properties been maintained while in these processed products?
Yes. It's 100% true. We have...
It's a difficult process to collect,
hard.
di ba?
It is difficult.
Sorry to
but
interrupt your
we're
thought.
very lucky to partner with indigenous people. As I said, we provide more or less to 2,000 farmers around southern Palawan. So we cannot do this without the help of the community. That's why they're very, very important, and we treat them as our partners instead.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm curious actually about the regenerative process. Walk us through that farming system. How do you do that, especially nowadays with so many technologies already?
First, we produce our own fertilizers from waste. So we buy a lot of waste from the community. Example, animal manure, or old or rotten fruits and vegetables.
Kitchen waste.
Yes, kitchen waste. So we produce that in our own micro, we call it, and then that's what we apply to our plantation.
Is that kind of like compost?
Yes, it is.
How many trees do you have?
Right now, planted, we have 3,500 hectares planted, and we have more or less 500,000 trees.
Whoa.
500,000 trees.
So these were newly planted. You don't have old trees in this.
No.
And
These
then
are
that was apparently the land was already degraded when Lionheart came
Yeah.
in.
The lands, of course, they are owned by the government, and also, of course, the IP, being like a caretaker. So we partner with both the government and the IP. And the coconut palms in our area, we planted ourselves. But we also have partnership with different municipality by renting their palms. So we're the one who's maintaining it, including the organic certification of every tree.
So small farm holders can be involved, can be part of it.
Yeah.
Not just your own
Not
plantation.
just our own plantation.
And I understand poverty rates there were at 65%, but now has been reduced to 30, correct?
I can tell that.
How can you tell?
Yeah,
How can you tell that the community has progressed?
Yeah.
Or there's economic benefit? Marami ng tindahan, ewan ko marami na
Yeah.
nag-aaral.
When I arrived in Rizal, Palawan, it was
What
way
year
back
was that?
2016. First, no road. Second, no internet. Third, no electricity.
Oh?
Yes. And majority of people working there are just doing kaingin, charcoal. And they make like...
They cut the trees.
They cut the trees, they make charcoal. And they make like 50 pesos per sack per day. So our aspiration, our mission is to change the lives of these people.
This is Rizal, Palawan.
Rizal, Palawan.
One of the poorest municipalities.
It's one of the poorer, of the poorest municipality in the southern Palawan.
I think the issue with Rizal is a lot of yung mga nadi-displace from BARM, lumilipit sila doon. The IPs, the mga lumads like that.
But you know what's so good about Lionheart? We don't have discrimination. We even apply, we are welcoming, husband and wives, or, father and son, or father and daughter, as long as, they're willing to be trained and adapt to our own, ways of making farming sexy.
Paano sexy? How? Because I understand, mahirap kunin yung nectar ng bulaklak ng nyog. It's
The moment, the second it leaves the place, nabubulok na siya,
Yeah, there's timing. There's always timing in everything. That's why,
I guess that's sexy,
That's sexy. You know why it's sexy?
Sexy
May deadline.
Yeah. You know why we call it sexy? Because, it's very sad when you talk to someone, especially the one in Rizal, before, years ago. Like, okay, they always say, we don't want our children to become farmers. Why? That's sad.
Now people aspire to be
Yes.
farmers.
Now, with the way we run, the business, and then with our proper trainings and seminars, and then we involve ourselves. We show them we care, and really show them everything that they can learn. It's like making it attractive to them. That farming is beautiful, right? So that's our way of saying.
Plus, if they can make products like this, alam nila na these are in shelves overseas, like you export US, Canada, Europe.
Yeah.
What is this?
This is our tuba, of course, a drink, hydration drink. Okay?
So tuba yan?
Tuba to.
But walang alcohol.
No alcohol. It's non-fermented.
Alam, malalasing ba tayo?
No,
Just to be clear.
It's not fermented and no sugar added for this. No, it's all natural. The sweetness that you can taste from this is really from the tuba.
So
the
safe
fresh
yan
tuba.
for, kunyari, diabetics?
Yes, yes. This is the best to have for diabetics, keto, or hypertension. This is the best.
Lots of health benefits, but what would you say was the reception overseas? And what makes a product so become competitive globally?
Well, we won the Paris Beverage Award last year for this. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I guess that says it all. It's hard to please the
My
French.
last question ako. How expensive is it expensive? Because, you know, we've been talking about how the process is so, the timing is so crucial, everything like that. And then ang dami yung farmers, so is it mahal?
Well, you cannot say mahal or you cannot say mura. You know, in the Philippines, you know, it's so sad because we always think what to buy na pinakamura. Not thinking about
Your
the health. Yeah. And mas mahal magpagamot kesa,
And also
you know,
buy
healthy.
sustainable, buy products that don't
Yeah,
harm the
yeah,
environment.
yeah.
Diba? Sustainable should also be sexy. Living
course.
sustainably.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Cecile. We wanted to chat with you longer, but we've run out of time. Thank you so much, and
Thank
more
you.
power to Lionheart.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. That was Cecile Chang, COO of Lionheart Farms.
Right, well, greatness surely runs in the blood. And so for our big picture tonight, EJ Obiana's father winning gold in the men's pole vault 60-plus division at the World Masters Games in Taiwan. At 60 years old, Coach Emerson Obiana clinched the victory with a 3.60-meter jump. He aimed for 3.75 meters, but was held back due to a foot injury. Now, the older Obiana started in athletics at the age of 24 before joining the Philippine national pole vault team. As an athlete, he won a silver medal in the 1995 SEA Games in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and a bronze medal in the 2005 competition. In 2023, Emerson also bagged the gold medal and set a new record at the 22nd Asia Masters Athletics Championships in the men's pole vault 55 to 59 division held in Tarlac. EJ's dad currently serves as the head coach for boys athletics at the University of Santo Tomas and is a national team coach under the Philippine Sports Commission. Age is just a number.
Ang galing naman pala ng dad ni EJ. I always wondered, like, medyo mahirap mag-start mag-pole vault. Kailangan merong magturo sa'yo na marunong. It's not something you just do.
And at 60, di ba? Tumatalon pa rin siya.
Ang galing. All right, more sports coming up next. But that's it for the big story on this Thursday evening.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thank you for watching. Have a good night.
And as promised, coming up next is Play-by-Play with Andre Felix and Cheska Liton Calao.
The birthday
Good
boy.
evening.
Speaking of age is just a number.
Oh!
Ayos. Thank you.
How old? Age reveal.
Age reveal.
42. Di ko naman dinedeny. Ang tanong mo, ba akong 42?
Sasagutin ba talaga namin? Hindi, wag na.
24. Ay, hello pala. Good evening kay Ma'am Cecil Chang, CEO. Hi, Ma'am. Lionheart Farms. Thank you. Nakita ko yung guest nyo eh. Birthday ko po ngayon.
This should encourage you to take fruits and vegetables.
Ha?
Yes. We're about that age where we have to start thinking about our health.
To eat gulay?
Yes.
Ha?
Yes.
Thank you.
Kasama ka doon, Cheska.
He doesn't eat gulay kasi.
Oh, no. I don't eat. Sorry. There, thank you.
He needs a good spanking. Pauline, will you do that for us?
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And thank you, Ma'am Cecil, again. Thank you also to Cez, to Sean, and to Boss Pauline. Ladies of the Big Story, happy Thursday. Tonight on the show, we've got the Indiana Pacers with another improbable comeback, this time to draw first blood in the NBA Western Conference Finals. Plus, it's SGA for MVP. Nagulat pa ba tayo doon?
Pretends to be shocked.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander takes the league's top individual prize for the season.
And Alas Pilipinas women set for another tournament in Vietnam with an invitational on tap next month.
Back show, I'm Andre Felix.
And I'm Cheska Liton Calao.
And here's tonight's play-by-play.